Hi.
All right, I think we're live.
Okay.
All right, hey there, homemaker. Welcome to Pure Fun Life. I'm Raquel, and today I'm really excited to be talking to Mrs. Dana Fritts about cookbooks. If you've ever wondered, where to get started with cookbooks, where to get them, that sort of thing, we're gonna be chatting with her. And so if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Dana.
Yeah, hi. My name is Dana Fritts. I'm married to Grayson Fritts. He's the pastor of All Scripture Baptist Church. And we've got four boys that I've homeschooled. My oldest is 21, and my youngest is 7. So I've been homeschooling for a long time, been a homemaker for a long time. I've been actually in my home, like not working an outside job for the last 15 years now, I guess. So lots
Wow.
of time spent, in the kitchen and at home. We're talking about cookbooks. I've always had a love of books in general, and that sort of morphed into a love of cookbooks, when I was grown and married and having a family. Um, I was never a baker, homemaker type girl growing up. My mom was. My mom was at home, and she always cooked and made all of our meals and baked and things like that. But that was never really anything I was interested in until I was married and on my own, and then it became, I guess, a hobby or out of necessity. At the beginning of my marriage, and I don't know. It's something that I really enjoy doing. I love to prepare food and love to feed people. I think there's something in us as a woman that makes it very fulfilling just to be able to feed somebody a great meal. So I have a vast cookbook collection, and I hope that we can talk about some different things. But I guess that's it. Is there anything else you want me to say?
Yeah, no. So I know you said you got started out of necessity. So you had become a wife and you just kind of wanted to learn to cook
Right.
for your family.
Right, exactly. Yes. And I was not familiar with, like, I didn't cook at home. When I lived at home, I just didn't cook. Other than like ramen or, rice aroni or
Yeah.
something like that, hot pockets and freezer food. I wasn't somebody who was preparing meals. I worked when I was a teenager, 15, 16, 17, 18. I was always at work after school. And so, I just didn't really get into cooking until I was married and, started feeding my own family. So,
Yeah, that's awesome. When I was dating Luis as well, I had made him a meal one time. I had taken over to his parents' house and I had put in all the seasonings that I could see in the cabinet because I thought I'm making a really flavorful pasta, but that wasn't true. So I definitely had a lot to learn once I got married and I was making meals more frequently.
Well, it
Um,
must not have been too bad. He still married you, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I'll tell you though, that day his dog didn't even eat the meal. I mean, it was pretty, it was like, no, it's okay. But,
That's so funny.
but I made it. I made it better now.
That's good. That's good. I'm sure you did. I'm sure you're fabulous.
So, yeah. So, do you remember what your first cookbook was?
I tried to think back when you sent me that little questionnaire, and I know that I got like the Betty Crocker, or Better Homes and Gardens. I think I had both of them. The 3-ring binder that has all your basic recipes in it. I know I got those as like wedding gifts, but I don't remember using those, a ton in the beginning. My mom actually, when I first got married, gave me a little recipe box, and I don't have the original. Hold on, I'm trying to get this one. I don't have the original recipe box she gave me, but it was something like this. And she
Aw.
actually wrote out all of the recipes that she made, frequently at home, just her standards, all her standard meals. So that way I would have them. So I used those a lot as like the beginning of, my cooking, baking experiences. And then I also had this one. This is, and it has no cover now. The cover is gone on it. This was the cookbook. I don't know if I have any kind of cover at all. This was from our church. My mom and dad and the church that I grew up in. It was Buffett Heights Baptist Church. The cover is gone. So it's just got recipes from like ladies in the church. I don't know if you can see this.
I love that
Oh,
idea.
it's fabulous. I definitely want our church to be able to do this at some
Yeah.
point in time or another. But it's got, it had recipes in it that I was familiar with because I'd gone to church, in the same church my entire life. And so I knew all the ladies who had submitted recipes into the cookbook. And I had probably eaten most of those recipes at church functions. So that was one that I kind of used probably more than anything else. I've probably made 75% of the recipes in this book, as well as the ones my mom gave me. So that was kind of the beginning. Oh, and one other. This one right here. I've had since, I don't know if it's in the shot, since the very beginning. I don't think, I probably already had Tristan when I got this. Tristan's my oldest. This is the Better Homes and Gardens Junior Cookbook. It says new Junior Cookbook, but this is back in 1999, I believe. Wow. And it has children's recipes in it, and I can tell you for sure that we've made every single recipe in this book multiple times. We used that a lot because I only had one, for a long time. Tristan was 5 before Samuel was born. So when, I was at home with him, I didn't have a girl to cook with, so I would just, drag him in there, and we would do recipes together like that. So that was my earliest cookbooks that I can remember having and using frequently.
So is the Junior Cookbook, is it like easier recipes so he can help?
It's like kid friendly. So it's all, kind of kid friendly meals. They all have silly names, teeny tiny tacos and, beat the band burgers and things like that. And it's got simple directions in it. They're fabulous cookbooks. We actually have a couple of the other Better Homes and Gardens children's books, and I think I'm partial to the one that we, started out with, just because I've made all those recipes and it's kind of near and dear. But all of those cookbooks are great for kids. I would highly recommend those books if you want to, encourage your little one to be in the kitchen with you.
Oh, that's wonderful. We actually have a step stool for Ezra, and anything I cook, he wants to help out. So I feel like that'd be nice, more specific with things, because even like the hand mixer, I'm like holding my hand and him because he just wants to be engaged. I feel like that'd be cute.
Yes. Well, let me show you this one. This one, I don't know if you're familiar. I feel like I'm not in the shot.
There it is. It's good.
Mm-hmm. This one is from Usborne Books. They're
I've heard of that. I don't know too much.
Books. I'm sorry, what?
I've heard of it, sorry, but I don't know too much about them.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Usborne is wonderful. If you ever get invited to an Usborne party, you need to join in and at least peruse the books and look through what they have. So this is their children's Start to Cookbook, and it is fabulous. I don't know if you can see it or not. Simple recipes, step-by-step instructions, drawings. It's great for kids. Everything's categorized, and it's a beautiful book. High quality, fantastic children's cookbook. Another one of my favorites.
Oh,
but we haven't used that one as much. It's fairly new. Yes.
Well, that's awesome. And do you have, is your favorite cookbook still the Junior one, or do you have a general favorite cookbook?
No, I wouldn't say that's my favorite. That's my favorite kids cookbook, I guess. But it's hard to pick a favorite. I read that on your question and thought, I don't know how I would ever pick a favorite cookbook. So I'll show you the one that I use the most right now. And, we talked earlier about using Pinterest, often, and just Googling recipes and pulling them up and printing them off. And of course I do that too. But like I told you, when I started out, we didn't have Pinterest. There was no, let's get on the internet and find a recipe. You either used a cookbook, or you called your mom or your grandma, or you went to the library or something like that. So I'm very comfortable using cookbooks and love books. I just love books in general. Like, you and I talked about, it's nice to hold a book in your hand. It's nice to, be able to look at it and flip through the pages and mark pages and save things. So this is my favorite cookbook right now. It's also a Better Homes and Gardens. This is the Better Homes and Gardens new cookbook, the 17th edition. So they've been at this a long time. And you'll laugh because probably I'll pull a Better Homes and Gardens out just about every category of, your little topics on your sheet. I do love the Better Homes and Gardens stuff. I think that must be my favorite category of cookbook. This cookbook is beautiful. See if I can find something. I love how it's just very modern looking. It has a lot of great photography in it. Food photography is a great thing. I don't know if you've seen my Facebook post. I love taking pictures of food and preparing food and, photographing it and things like that. I even have a book on food. Had thought about it ago and never, got around to it because of life. But that's the cookbook that I use the most, I guess, right now, or reference the most. Probably my favorite.
That's really great. So
I could go on and on. I have so many.
So in terms of what cookbooks you're into, are Better Homes and Garden, that's like your favorite I don't know, brand type
Well,
something.
I don't know that I would say it's just Better Homes and Gardens is my favorite, but a lot of the ones that I love, the most, the ones that are tried and true, are the Better Homes and Gardens cookbooks. But no, as far as what I look for in a cookbook, I told you I collect them. I
Mhm.
love a cookbook that is more than just food. It's more than just a collection of recipes. It actually is a book that gives you a little more. It gives you a story. It gives you some background on the person who wrote the book. It gives you some beautiful photography. It gives you some history on the food, or some history on, the region that the food comes from. I think it's just more of a love for books and a love for food, and I've sort of married those two things, if that makes sense. I've got a book here that Grayson actually bought me for Mother's Day one year, and it's called
Oh,
In Her Kitchen. This is a fabulous book. It is technically, I guess, a cookbook, but it goes from country to country. See if I can find one. I marked one in here. And it a photograph of a grandmother. Can you see that?
oh,
Photograph
I
of a
love
grandmother,
that.
a photograph of a dish that she's made, and then it gives you the recipe and a little bio about this lady. And it goes all across the entire world. There are grandmothers featured from literally all over the world in, expensive, beautiful kitchens and in tiny huts next to the river. And it's just amazing to read and see that, at our core, we're all the same. All women are the same. They strive to bring their best to the table, when they're feeding their family or their friends or their loved ones or whatever. And, you can do that with very, very simple ingredients. So I love books like this. And this is what I look for. When I'm looking for a book, yes, I have books about cakes and books about pies and books about, pressure cookers and crock pots and things like that. But I love the cookbooks or the food books that tell a story. So if that makes sense.
Wow, that's wonderful. I actually love YouTube channels like that. So I feel like I would
Yes,
enjoy that book where it's like old
you would.
timey, like Mexican or Italian or whatever kind of
Yes,
grandmas. And I'm like, yes, show me what you're doing. Like,
yes, exactly. There's a little grandmother that I follow online. I can't remember the name of the show. I should have written it down. It's like it's in my kitchen, but it's in Spanish, or in her kitchen, I think. And
oh,
she
I think
speaks in
mine's like
Spanish.
Miranchita or something.
I can't
Miranchita,
remember. I'll
maybe.
send you a link when
Okay.
we're done. But I mean, I don't even speak Spanish, and I can sit here and watch this lady cook, and she's cooking on, a big, like a stone hearth, with the fire inside of it. And it's very, simple setup. It's not like she's in some big fancy kitchen. And it is wonderful. The food looks fabulous, and it's just very soothing to sit and listen to her and watch her work. But yes, I love YouTube channels like that too.
Yeah, and I know for me, like I'm until I get really good at a particular recipe, I'm pretty big at measuring everything exact. And I do
Right.
like a little bit more, I feel crazy. So they're like, I mean, I saw one where like an Italian grandma was canning and
Yeah.
they don't go by American standards.
No.
They're like, I just put some basil in, I just did whatever. And I'm like,
Exactly.
wow, like, but it's exciting because I was like,
That's funny.
I mean, it's worked for them. So I don't
Oh, you're
know.
frozen.
I'm
It froze
frozen.
up. Okay, there it goes. There it goes.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's okay now. It's perfectly fine now. It froze like for just a split second, but now it's good. But yes, I know exactly what you mean. I think that comes with just time and experience, because I was the same exact way when I was, I'm going to turn this. It's getting on my nerves. When I was first married, I followed a recipe to the T. I never strayed. I would call my mom, I need an exact recipe. I think he's asleep. I need
Yeah.
exact recipe for this, for that, or whatever. But now it's, you asked me, one of the questions was, have I ever considered making my own cookbook? No, I really haven't, just because I could probably never recreate the recipes, because I have no idea. Well, I mean, I don't really have any like creations of my own. I don't really have recipes that I can just say, oh, I completely concocted this all on my own. Number one, that would be my number one reason for not creating a cookbook. But number two, even the recipes I make, like I never make chili the same way twice, ever, ever. I just throw some stuff in a pot and whatever I've got. Same thing with meatloaf. Same thing with, so many other things. Because after, I've been married 22 years now. So, and I've been actively like trying to up my game in the kitchen for at least the last 15 or 16 years. So you get pretty comfortable after a while, and you know where you can, try new things and experiment and things like that. So you're like, I love bread baking. Love to bake bread.
Yes.
I bake bread, 2 or 3 times a week. I make a honey wheat or make a sourdough or just some French bread or yeast rolls or just whatever. And, I remember like early on trying to make a loaf of bread, and it was just a complete flop. And, I had a bread maker. I had gotten a bread maker for Christmas one year where you just put all the ingredients in there and it just does everything for you. And then you just bring it out. I mean, it's supposed to be no, like, fail proof, right? And this bread was just disgusting. And I remember thinking, I'm never going to be able to make bread. How do these people make bread? Well, it's just doing it. It's just doing it over and over and failing at it multiple times and figuring out, what it takes to get a good loaf of bread. So, but, you'll get there and you'll get to where you're throwing in whatever and, no thought to what you're making.
Yeah, I know with bread making, I've been getting better, but it's like really satisfying when you like let it rest and then you're like, oh, it expanded.
Yes.
Like, I mean, you feel like, I made that bread. And even if you're just making French toast from it, you're like, I did this. Like, and it's more wholesome because like even Celine was asking if you have any weight loss recipes, but I was even going to say that like kind of going with what Carol was saying about having like few ingredients in the recipes. Sometimes I feel like there's like, you can get really complicated, or it can just be, you just master these simple ingredients. And then, I mean, homemade bread is so much more wholesome than buying it at the store. Yes. So if you want to go all out and add a lot, or if you want to go a little, like.
That's exactly right. I have our youngest son has a lot of allergies, a lot of skin allergies. And I took him to see a doctor. Oh gosh, it was back in April, I guess, the end of April, because we just exhausted everything trying to figure out how to get this kid's skin okay. Well, they ran some scans on him. We ended up taking him off of corn and dairy and most sugar. Well, I know you've probably read ingredients, and there is some corn or corn derivative or some dairy or dairy product in literally everything that you buy. I mean, it's just pretty much anything. Well, I already made bread at home. And so we just made sure that everything that he had was homemade, no processed food, hardly at all. And, when you're making your own foods, you know exactly what goes in there. There's absolutely no question of the ingredients that go in. There's no worry or wonder, is this something that he can or can't have? And so that's, it's a huge benefit making all of your own food at home. It's a lot of work. It's very time consuming. It's, a huge commitment, but it's also very rewarding, like you said, and can be very beneficial to your family.
Yeah. Or even some things like I make bone broth now. And so I haven't bought broth from the store in such a long time that, I mean, and it's just, I keep my chicken bones, I keep, veggie scraps, put them in there, water, apple cider vinegar, bam, ready to go, especially with an Instant Pot. So there's so many ways to make it. You just master it. Or I know it's not cooking necessarily, but I'm also really into ferments. And so I can have sauerkraut on hand and,
Oh, that's wonderful. I have a friend that makes kombucha. Well, she makes, everything, but her kombucha is absolutely amazing. And she does all that stuff at home. She does, the sauerkraut. She does the kimchi. She does all of that. So I've never gone down that road other than sourdough bread. I mean, I have a sourdough starter on my counter, but no, I've not attempted the fermented foods, but they're wonderful, supposed to be wonderful for your gut. So that's definitely something to get really good at.
Yeah. And I find it like, it's really tasty too. Like that tang. I have some kombucha going, but it's still going. I have water kefir though. And it's like kind of like a LaCroix. I don't know if you drink LaCroix, but it's like that where you have the bubble, you have some kind of fruit flavor, and to know like, wow, this is pretty tasty, but it gives me some extra benefits. I just like it because once I set it up, it's just simple. And then just kind of like sourdough, you just check on it. You might feed it or, different sorts of things like that. So.
And just let it go. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, that's a great hobby.
Do you find yourself looking at the recipe books, and 9 times out of 10, do you like alter it just because you're whatever I have in the fridge?
Yeah, it depends on what it is. I mean, I don't know if you've heard that old saying, cooking is an art and baking is a science. If I'm baking something, I usually follow the recipe pretty, closely. Unless it's like bread or something like that. Bread varies, I mean, your flour measurements, your water measurements, it's all relative. But if I'm making a cake from a recipe, then yes, I follow it exactly. Now, if I'm cooking something, making a meal, following a recipe out of a cookbook for some, then no, I rarely ever follow a recipe to a T. Not because I think my way's better or anything like that, but because usually I don't have half of what's on there. And so you kind of improvise and, a little bit of this to sub for that and things like that. But yeah, I usually always alter if I'm just cooking. But
yeah. And sometimes like I don't have Worcestershire sauce. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So like if that's ever in an ingredient, Worcestershire, I never have that. So that's always something I'm like, oh, I'll just put something else in there. I don't know what to use it for.
I'll use some Worcestershire sauce. I can't believe you don't have that in your fridge.
What do you do with it? I'm just
oh,
really
hamburgers. I use it for hamburgers, beef stew, beef and barley. Just a lot of stuff. Any kind of vegetable soup. Sometimes even stir fry. Yeah, I like Worcestershire a lot. That's a staple at my house.
I'll have to give it a go. I know I use sofrito a lot. It's like a Spanish.
I don't know what that is.
It's a Spanish cooking base. So basically, like every couple of months, I make it and then I freeze some, keep some in the fridge. And you take like peppers, onions, cilantro, culantro, things like that. You blend them, and then you make kind of like a paste, kind of like a pesto, kind of like that texture. And then I'll put that in stews, or you can put that in different elements. And I guess that gives it a lot of flavor. So I'm always like, that's okay. But yeah, maybe it adds something though. I should give it a go.
Worcestershire is very rich. So yes, it's got a lot of depth to it. Sort of like a soy sauce, something that's extremely flavorful. So yeah. But
can you
what did
marinate
you call that
in it?
Yes,
sofrito, yeah.
You can marinate in it. Sure. Sofrito. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I'm trying to make a video on it soon because I'm almost out. Okay. But yeah, we make it all the time, and that is a staple for me in the fridge all the time. Like I always have that in the back, and then you can put it in whatever, and it always gives it like a good flavor. You're like, just whip it in. So
great. It sounds great. Well, I love any kind of spicy, especially like Spanish inspired or South American type food. I love that. Now my husband does not. So that's not something that I will make a lot. No, he's not a fan. He is a typical, sad American diet where he likes meat and potatoes and bread, and that's pretty much it. But I don't get real exciting when I'm making something that I, want him to enjoy. But I'll try anything.
Well, but I have to say, one time he was on the Revival podcast, and he had mentioned how you had come out one day and made cornbread, and you had your apron on, and he was like looking feminine, and like he really loves your meal. He seemed like, I was like, man, I want that cornbread recipe. He seemed like
really nice. Well, I can give you my cornbread recipe. He does love cornbread. Yes, he's a Southern boy for sure.
Aww. So where do you find yourself? Like, I know you said Pastor Fritts gave you a cookbook, but is it a lot of gifts? Do you do like thrifts, estate sales? That sort of thing?
Well, it just depends. My mom almost gets me a cookbook every holiday, every, birthday, Christmas, whatever. But if I'm just, myself, I follow a lady online called the Cookbook Diva. She's got a fantastic little channel on Instagram, and she shows books a lot. So, I kind of follow her show. And if I see one that I like, then, I might order it from thrift books. I always look at the cookbooks at thrift stores, yard sales, any kind of flea markets, wherever there are scores and scores of books. The cookbooks are the first place that I always go and look. And then gifts, I have, like my granddad passed away in April. And so my mom gifted me. It's funny, my granddad was actually a very talented cook, sort of born out of necessity. My grandmother passed away 10 years prior, and he got to where he would just cook for himself, and he got very good at it. It's really funny. You know, he was like sharing recipes with me, and we would trade recipes and cookbooks and things like that. But she gifted me, you know, all of his cookbooks when he passed away. So, you know, just wherever. I'm the kind of person that if there's a cookbook around, I'm going to find it. So, because I love them. I don't know if you can see. I have a lot of cookbooks. There's no way to get them all in the shot, though. I didn't count them, but I have several.
Yeah, these are all my cookbooks here.
I might have to mail you one, a little cookbook.
Yeah.
We need to
I got to get it going. So
expand your cookbook collection. Yep.
Yeah, and I want to get more into the new, and even the ones I have, I feel like, you know, like we were saying, I default to Pinterest, and I'm like, I have these books, and I mean,
Well, see,
I just gotta.
I had a goal of, and I've never done it other than the junior cookbook. That's probably the only cookbook I have that I've made every single recipe in it. But I had thought years ago when I was going to have a blog, I was going to start a blog about cookbooks and pretty much just do reviews on cookbooks. And I had thought at the time, before I did the blog, I wanted to take one cookbook and go through and make every single recipe in it. Every single one, you know, test it, photograph it, and, you know, write a review or whatever on it. And I've never actually done that because I get so distracted. And I have so many, you know, it's like you get one and you make 5, 6, 7, 8 recipes out of it, and then you get another one. And it's like, I want to start on that one. So I've not actually sat down and done that. But I think that would be a fun challenge to do. And I mark my cookbooks. I think you had asked me, let me find one you had asked me how I mark recipes. A long time ago, like when I first got married and my mom gave me, you know, some of her old stuff and my grandmother's old cookbooks, you know, I had found that my mom and my grandmother would like write in the inside cover here what recipe and what page, just as a reference. And so I started out early on marking them that way and doing that. But then I got to where I didn't like that. So I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, I started marking all of my recipes. I'm having trouble.
I'm here. I'm passing it.
Can you see the little sticker there? No, it's okay. I put a little sticker next to the recipes that I make. And I've got, did I get my stickers out? I don't know if I did. Here they are. I've got like these little planner stickers, you know, that I use. And so anytime I make a recipe, I just put a little sticker on it. That way I know I've done it. And, you know, I can see it quickly if I thumb through the book. So that's the way that I mark my recipes. But
that's really
this is a great cookbook too, by the way. This is Clara's Kitchen. I don't know if you've heard of Clara. There's actually a YouTube channel out there. She is no longer, you know, here. She passed away several years ago. But her grandson, about a decade ago, made a YouTube channel with her. This is his grandmother. And he would interview her and have her make a recipe online. And he showed the entire, you know, process of the recipe. And it's Depression era cooking. So it's very simple, you know, very staple ingredients. She's an Italian. The YouTube channel is fabulous. You would love it. She's such a joy to listen to. She's really funny. I don't know. Let me see what the website is actually called. If you Google Clara's Kitchen, let me see if I can't find the name of the website. But if you Google Clara's Kitchen on YouTube, you'll be able to find it. This is such a great little treasure. And it's one of those books, like I told you about, tells a story. You know, she talks about when her family came to America and, you know, how they were immigrants and what it was like growing up and being, you know, living through the Depression and how hard it was. So this is a fabulous book. Highly recommend it.
I love that too, because you can even be connected not only to different cultures with food, but then to different eras, like, you know, the Depression era.
Exactly.
I think Ezra woke up, but I think that's really great. Oh, look, Carol says she also puts stickers in a cookbook she's creating for her daughter. Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Nice.
And then Celine asked if you have any simple recipes for women on the go.
Simple recipes for women on the go. I mean,
like sandwiches?
It depends on what you're looking for. Yeah, sure. I make overnight oats a lot, or I used to. I don't as much anymore just because I'm not really on the go as much. But when we were going a lot, I would make overnight oats in the fridge, just cold oatmeal that you mix up, you know, and stick it in the refrigerator at night. You get it out in the mornings, give it a good stir. It's great for grab and go. I make wraps a lot, and sandwiches and things like that for the kids. We do sandwiches usually on Sundays just because it's easy. I usually make up my kids' lunch Sunday morning and then put it in individual boxes because we're at the church all day long on Sunday. So that way, as soon as church is over and I have, 45 people that I have to talk to, I can just hand them their little box and they can go and eat. And, they're not standing there anxiously awaiting their lunch. So, I mean, there are so many grab and go options now. Yeah, but I hope that answers her question.
Oh, that's so nice. That's sweet having the food ready. Do you, when you're making something from a cookbook, do you bring the cookbook to the kitchen? You have a stand, or I take pictures, like screenshots of things. So I don't know how that.
Here we go. Hold on. Okay, so this is my cookbook stand. I don't know if you can see that. It's just a little, IKEA. I bought this at IKEA. I had one that I liked a lot better and it broke. It was like a cast iron kind of thing and it kind of cracked and was chipping. And so I got rid of it. This one was really cheap from IKEA, but it does the job. I don't know. I'm in the market for something different though. But yes, I do always stand the cookbook up on the counter with me. My mom actually had one when I lived at home that it was on like hinged and it would come down from under the cabinet. You could just like pull it down and set your book on it. And then when you were done, you would just fold it back up and stuff it back up there. It was just the most fabulous thing. And I've never found another one like that. I know. And she left it in their house when they moved. So she said she wishes that she had taken it with her. But that's really handy. But yes, I usually always, stand it up. And these are my copies. You talked about Pinterest and printing printing recipes. I have tons of printed recipes. Tons. And I keep them in a binder. And don't laugh at me because it's huge. This is my kitchen.
Whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's got like everything in it. It's got menus from the last, I don't even know, decade, I guess. Because I make a menu every month and try to stick to it. It's got, recipes by category. I'm kind of OCD like that. But anything that I print and I really like this is my sourdough recipe that I'm currently using, then I put a little sticker on it and then I'll file it away in my book. And my book is growing out of bounds. I think it's about time to maybe split it up into volumes or something. It's getting a little bit too big. But that's how I keep my printed Pinterest recipes because I don't like to, I don't know, maybe it's my age, or I don't know. I don't like to look at my computer or my phone when I'm cooking. I want a piece of paper, copy, something I can read, write on, mark on in front of me. I don't like to just look at, a digital image. So maybe I'm just old. I don't know.
No, I mean, I love that. And like the more I get into like, the old timey stuff, like I've been telling you about getting more into sewing and things like that. I mean, I think it's great just having things printed and you're also not distracted because even if I screenshot something, then someone texts me and then by the time I know it, I was going to make cookies and I'm like, I spent like 15 minutes. Someone's talking to me and I'm like, the book's not going to do that. We're here. That's it. So
right.
You had mentioned going to thrift stores. Exactly. For cookbooks. What are you looking for? Like, are you looking for the Better Homes and Family? Are you looking through for certain kinds of recipes or?
You're breaking up just a little bit. So I heard you say going to thrift stores. Ask me that question again.
Yeah. So you said that when you go to the thrift stores, you're always looking at the cookbooks. And I was saying, what are you looking for? Are you, going for a certain type of cuisine typically, or are you looking for, a certain like the Better Homes and Family or certain recipes, or what makes you like, yes, I'm going for this? Oh,
I still hear you, Raquel. It's breaking up.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Are you there?
Yes. I think you're freezing a bit. I don't know. Maybe, like I told you, it's raining a lot, so I don't know if it's a signal.
Yep. Is it pouring?
Yeah. Oh Okay, so I guess Dana's gone for a minute. We'll see while she loads. Let me know in the comments, you know, oh, it's just me. Let me know in the comments if you have a cookbook that you really enjoy. If you want to get into the cookbooks, any of the ones she mentioned. Okay, you can hear me fine, Carol. Okay, that's great. So let me see. Dana's going to be back.
There you are.
Are we here? Okay.
Okay, I think we're
So
good.
I was saying that when you go to a thrift store, you said go to the book section, you're looking at the cookbooks, and you're
Yes.
looking through like, do you typically look for, oh, I've seen that book, or are you looking for particular recipes, styles, or?
No, I mean, I don't know. I guess I like a certain style. I've been on a big and don't make fun of me, a big vegan kick over the last year, I guess, due to health issues and things like that. And so I've tried to find, recently when I've gone and looked, I've looked for anything that has to do with gut health, inflammation, vegan or vegetarian type cookbooks, anything that, supports, an anti-inflammatory diet, things like that. So it really just depends on what interest is, I guess, as to what I'm looking for. I also love anything Southern Living. I love the Southern Living stuff. I love the Better Homes and Gardens, so those always jump out at me. I love kids' cookbooks just because my little one, Oliver, he's all about helping in the kitchen, much more than any of the other boys ever were. All he wants to be right in here, right on top of me, just like you said, Ezra is. Always wants to know what's going on. So, he loves baking and things like that. So if he finds something that he likes, then we'll always get it. But it just really depends, on what it is I'm looking for. I've been big. It's funny, you know how it is, how experiences sort of steer what you like and what you're interested in and what you're looking for. We went up to Ohio back in the spring, Pastor DeLello's church, and stayed in country in a beautiful I guess in the country. And so I got to shop up and down the Amish country, and it was.
Oh, I think.
And I don't know if you've ever seen, and I've got a few. Is it breaking up again? There it
A
goes.
little bit, yeah.
But
okay.
I've got some Amish cookbooks. Yeah, are you there? Can you see me now?
Okay, yeah, I see the book you're showing me.
I've got these two. Okay. These are both from Amish country. Mm-hmm. Fabulous cookbooks. And it's funny, you talk about having a recipe where, do you measure exactly? Do you follow it exactly? It's like the Amish ladies who write these cookbooks. They just assume that you have this prior knowledge of cooking, baking. I guess they just assume that everybody just knows. And a lot of the cookbooks or recipes are real generalized. We'll just say a scoop of this or a bit of that, or it's really kind of funny. But I know it's very challenging, especially like the bread. It will say, just add enough flour to get the dough to a consistency that, blah, 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 blah. But I love the Amish and Mennonite cookbooks. The recipes are fabulous. They usually always feed a crowd because, they're always feeding lots and lots of people. And so at church now, we're always making food for something. And I need, food for 50, 60 people. And so the Amish and Mennonite cookbooks are fabulous. So I've been kind of scoping those out too, looking for those. But it just depends on what my interest is, really. And then, of course, I'm always a sucker for an awesome cover or title, something pretty. Like, let's see if I can find it. This one, I bought this one solely because of the way that it looks. It's forest food, I think. It's
really nice.
Yeah, the Forest Feast for Kids. And this is, a vegetarian and vegan cookbook for children, which seems really silly. But Ollie's been on, sort of a restricted diet lately. And this absolutely beautiful. Are you there?
Yeah, I think that the signal's going out a little bit.
This one has great pictures in it. It's really So it just depends, you know. If I see something I like, then are you there? You're froze.
I'm froze. You're froze. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay, you're
Are you
loading
there?
again. Yes.
No, there you
Okay. Well, that's really nice. I mean, I think I was vegan years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm not anymore, but I still think like when you look up like vegan and vegetarian recipes, it really gets you creative with vegetables. And I think it's a great way to implement, you know, vegetables in a way you wouldn't think. And they're also really into like zero waste, where it's like, you know, you might use the scraps of this to do that. And I feel like, you know, it just gets more creative. So I, you know, I follow YouTube channels and, you know, I'll be on the lookout for cookbooks like that because it inspires you like, oh, I didn't know I could, you know, make something like that with onion peels, make bone broth, what, you know, whatever. So do you have,
Well, I don't, you know, go ahead.
Oh no, go. I was, this is like kind of off topic, but I had been meaning to ask you if you have anything like this. This is one I got this at an estate sale, and it's wait, hold on. This is so old timey though. Like the photos in this one. Look at this. She's so happy to serve her, I assume, you know, husband. And I mean, I mean, the recipes look great, but I feel like the old timiness, like, look at how happy she is to be baking. Like, I was like, this is just darling. Like,
love it. Well, that's funny. Let me show you this. I actually bought this one at it's an Ollie's store. I don't know if y'all have Ollie's, and it's a reprint of a very old book, and it's called Entertaining with Betty. And it doesn't have actual photos in it, but it has some drawings, and it talks about hosting all through the book. How to host a party, how to feed your family, how to, you know, basically just be a very classy host. And it's like that whole 1950s mindset, you know, where a woman took pride in keeping house, and she took pride in preparing meals, and she took pride in serving her husband. It's kind of a lost, you know, mindset. There's not a lot of women that think that way anymore. At least that's how it seems. So I ran across this book at Ollie's and bought it, just because I thought it was fabulous. I'd never seen it before. And it's really funny how it reads, because now, you know, something like this would be considered just, you know, oh, you know, oppressed women. You know, it's just not accepted anymore at all. Well, I think it's fabulous because, you know, you do. I mean, I know I do when I'm doing my job as a wife, as a mom, you know, as, you know, the mother of these children, and I'm serving them good food, and I can feel good about what I'm making and feel good about what I'm serving. That's fulfilling to me. You know, that's, I feel like I'm doing my job. So, of course, you know, if you take a job seriously, then you're going to do it to the best of your ability. So I love books that will tell me how to take it to the next level. You know, we joke and laugh, and, you know, it seems like, I don't know, people have lost the desire to have nice meals anymore, you know, to lay a tablecloth out and have placemats and have a table setting and serve a beautiful meal on serving pieces. It's like everybody just eats quick, on the go, off the
paper
stove.
Plates just there.
Yeah, exactly. And I love, you know, something that's more, not necessarily formal, but more special, you know. So we do try to set the table every night. The boys, you know, put the plates out and set the silverware out, and we set the napkins out, and we use cloth napkins, and, you know, we try to make it an affair when we have dinner. We put the food on the table. Let's not eat off the stove. So, yes, I love old-fashioned, all that, you know. I just love that. That's definitely my style for sure.
Yeah, and I know I love that about cast iron too. It has like that old-timey look, and I have this mat that you can kind of put it on the table so that way it's like scoop your potatoes right off. And, but, you know, you're like, I'm still learning, but I'm getting into embroidery now, and I was like, maybe I'll make some table napkins with my sewing knowledge as I get there, and then I'll embroider them. And then, you know, I just feel like it's so personal. Then someone comes over, and right now we use these like little towels, like a cloth towel, but, you know, it's just, it works, but it's not so, wow, I made this, and it's kind of I don't know, it's just special, like you
It
said,
is
or
special. It's like I told you when you mentioned that about the embroidery. My mom actually just gave me, these table runners that were my grandmother's that she had embroidered. These little woodland creatures like on both ends. It's so sweet, so special, so nice. Well, we're throwing a baby shower at church here in a couple of weeks, and the young lady who's having the baby, her nursery theme is little animals. So I'm going to get to use those, as we decorate for the shower. And that's something very special. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And it seems like anymore, I don't know, everything is just so fast, fast, quick, speedy, get it over with, make it as easy as possible. Let's cater the whole meal. Let's not go to any trouble. And I like to slow things down. Let's make it special. Let's make it pretty. Let's make the food. Let's, I don't know, just go back to what's the old ways, I guess, because I think that that's been lost in the current society that we live in, where everything is just so fast paced.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I like about embroidery is that kind of like attracts me to it, that it's like, I'm investing, little times here and there. And so it could be 6 hours that I made this embroidery hoop for you. And, overall, I put these little flowers and these words, but it's like, it's so special. And like, even the other day I was at the thrift store and I saw an embroidery hoop and I think it was like some lilacs or something. And I'm like, I wonder what the story is behind that. Like, did this lady just want to do flowers? Was it part of her family? Like, I don't know. It's just so beautiful having that timeness. And you're right. I mean, it's just, oh no, we'll do something else. Or, I mean, I'm guilty of it too, but I think it's like, we're so used to like scrolling and just like, 10-second videos is like the best thing to do. Even with like online, that's what's, it's promoted because it's the most popular, where, you have to like sit and be patient and, it's just different.
Yep, it is. It's very different. Yep. But that's the great thing about being at home and being able to be a homemaker and being able to, move at your own pace and slow things down, even when the world is this crazy, fast-paced. Everything I want. Slow things down. We enjoy. It's like we started back to school this week. This is off subject.
You're waking up a little bit.
My boys started back to school.
Okay.
We want to be able. Are you there? It cut out again.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, there you are. But we want to be able to move at our own pace. I don't want to feel like we have to just cram and hurry. And if we want to take a day off, then we're going to take a day off. So, we went ahead and started our school year early. That way there's no rush to done. We like to be able to have some freedom in our homeschool, freedom in our day. And, and if we want to just take the day and go, swimming or go to the lake or go to the mountains or go thrifting or go wherever, then we can do that. We just kind of slow things down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's the beautiful thing about homeschooling too, that like, I'm not homeschooling yet, but I've been looking kind of like into Charlotte Mason and things like that, where I'm excited for it, where I'm already reading books, and just because I even like the mother culture of it, where it just like, it seems like mothers who homeschool and, Charlotte Mason and all those kind of concepts, it's just made for like, the Bible says like having the law of kindness, in your mouth. And so as a woman, and so I feel like that's kind of what it makes me want to do, like be more patient, or how I say certain things. Like I could just say no, but maybe I'll say it this way. And I don't know, it just makes me think so much. And just thinking like, you just go outside, like some of the Charlotte Mason books, you go outside and you might, look at different leaves with your child and do this. Or if your child likes this certain topic, that's what you go with homeschooling. And you don't even have that slow down pace, when it comes to general, like public school. I mean, you're just kind of like, okay, we're just all going and there's like 20 other people. And, so, I mean, that's the other thing about homeschooling. It's like such a blessing to be able to take that time.
It absolutely is. It definitely is. Yes. So, we take for, but yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so I think you froze. Are you there?
Again. There you are.
Okay. I think it's probably me. It's probably my rain outside. So
I don't know.
Hopefully,
That's all right.
and I know Carol says she loves cooking for her pastor. He loves the food and always says thank you for the meal. That's really nice. I'm sure you like cooking for your pastor too.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah, I sure do. He's very grateful most of the time.
Yeah, it's nice because we'll notice when pastor like certain themes that we do, like we do the
Oh, I
the
bet.
potluck style because he'll mention
Uh-huh.
it. Or Robin said the other day we were together setting up for a baby shower, and she was saying, I was like, "What are you making for dinner tonight?" And she's like, "Oh, I think I'm making bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwiches because pastor was mentioning that in his sermon a few times, and so she's like, okay, that's what he wants. And so it's fun. You can tell what they like. Like,
That's so funny.
so,
I love it.
so Karina says, I think that's my sister. She says, does Miss Dana know the cookbook Mastering the Art of French Cooking by Julia Child? Is it worth it?
Yes. Yes. I
Yeah.
don't have it. My mom actually has it. I bought it for my mom about a decade ago, I guess. And so I've never bought a copy of my own because I know that one will one day be mine. And if I need it, then I'll just go get it from her. But yes, I'm very familiar with that. I love Julia Child. I think she's a fun person to watch. If you see some of those older shows that she has, she's very flamboyant and really funny. And, French food is, I think, fabulous. So yeah, if you don't have it, I would highly recommend getting it.
Even French culture, I get fascinated. I went to France before.
Really?
Yeah, on a school trip, some years ago, a long time ago. And it was just nice seeing the same. The culture is like you go to dinner there and we're used to kind of like, okay, the appetizer came out. Okay, here's the food. You're out 45 minutes, whatever. Over there, it's very insulting to rush. Like they bring everything out slow on purpose. And you're supposed to just relax. And it's even considered rude there for you to ask for substitutions because they're like, you're supposed to just receive it as the chef makes it. And I'm like, wow, like it's so different.
Yeah, it's great though. Have you ever heard of, her name is Jennifer Scott, and she has a YouTube channel called The Daily Connoisseur. She's fabulous. She's wonderful. She was an exchange student in France, and she talks a lot about French culture and French food and just that exact, type of culture that you're talking about, the slower pace and, just smaller meals, but good meals and enjoying your meals. And yeah, she has a great YouTube channel. I follow her stuff a lot and have a couple of her books.
Oh yeah, I'm actually reading one of her Madame Chic books, and I just love how she also brings like such value to like, you don't see dishes as just like, oh, I'm just doing this. Like, it's like honorable work. Like I'm cleaning for my family. Like it's just, I love that. And like even learning like the different, I feel like etiquette and polish and things like that. Back in the day, that's everybody was taught that. And now it's like, we don't even think of that as women. And so maybe some things like, hey, it's okay to be relaxed with your family, but I don't know, just try to have some fanciness to you,
Exactly. I think it was her who said, you need to dress the part. If you're a mom at home and your job is to clean and cook and take care of your home and take care of your house, then you need to actually dress the part and, not wear, people are so much in the habit of just crummy, run down, oh, I'm at home so I can wear my, yuckiest clothes. Nobody's going to see me. And I remember, I can't remember if it was her or another channel that I watched, but it was one of the two who said, you're going to perform to, at your job in the way that you're dressed. The way that you dress and the way that you're carrying yourself is going to have a great effect on the way that you do your job during the day. And so you dress for success. You don't sit around in your lounge wear. And so, even when I cook, or I'm baking or whatever, I always, I don't have slob clothes, anymore. Of course, I don't know that I've ever really had slob clothes, but I guess a long time ago, when I'd wear sweatpants and a big t-shirt or something like that, but not anymore. I always have my little apron on, and I always have something on that, I'm comfortable in, and I feel like, looks presentable so I can run food to the neighbor if I need to. But I think it was her. I'm pretty sure that it was her who I heard say that years ago. She's wonderful. I love her channel.
Yeah. It's definitely an encouragement to me. And I don't know if it was her or another channel that was saying how, children are so impressionable too. And so, if you're just lounging around in your pajamas, not only is it not helping you be more efficient, but then, the children are learning that as well. And so, you know, like I feel like I didn't have an apron before, and I was like, oh, I mean, it's not super necessary. But
Right.
then my sister got this for me since I had been talking about it, and I'm like, you know, even just having it on, whether or not I'm using it for
Yes.
things, I just feel like it helps me. Then,
Yeah.
you know, Ezra's grabbing on my apron, like it's just, I don't know, it's just so homemaky, and it's like a
Yeah.
sweet thing. And so I feel like this in itself elevates an outfit. So it's, I don't know. I just feel like it's like the little things, and they're, you
It
know,
is.
you can thrift them, you can make them. It's
You
like so
can.
inexpensive to like look nice. Or I think Jennifer Scott was talking about, she likes to wear a lot of not printed, like flowers, like kind of like pattern things. So that
Yes.
way if like stains gets on it, you know,
Yeah, I think
it's
that was her.
fine.
I've heard her
Yeah.
say that. Yes. My mom always wore aprons, so aprons, you know, are that's a thing. That was not something that I had to even think about having. I've had one from the very beginning. But yes, I love an apron. I don't know. I'd hate to think how many aprons I have. Several. Lots and lots and lots. But I have one on almost every day. Not today, but I actually did earlier, but I took it off. I was cleaning with my mom today and it was disgusting.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it can get rough. You know, if you're doing a painting job or something, then that's the
Yeah.
one time you're like, okay. Or, you know, I have like more like, I guess they're not like bad looking, but these are typically like my house dresses, you know, like where they look nice,
Yes.
but I always use them for the house. So if anything
Yeah.
were to happen to them, I don't know. I'm just more okay than like my church dress or
Yep. I'm with
so.
you. I'm with you.
Let's see. You said that you mark your recipes with
Yes.
stickers. And do you write directly in your cookbooks or
Sometimes,
do you?
yes. Sometimes I do. Like if I have an adjustment, if I make something and you know I change something that I think, okay, that was a really good change. I want to remember that I did that. Then yes, I will write in my cookbooks. I'm not opposed to that at all, or highlight or whatever. But yes, I do.
I think the other thing that I like about cookbooks is that I've had several recipes that Luis will request again. And if I didn't save them on Pinterest, or if I did and I don't remember what I changed to it, then I feel like I'm like, oh man, I don't know how I exactly made it. And I, you
Yeah.
know, I feel like if you print it, if you have like your awesome binder or if you have the book or whatever, then you know exactly what you
Yep.
did. Like,
Exactly. Yep. And a lot of times in my printed recipes, I'll actually write on the bottom of the printed recipe what I made it for. Like if I made it for church or something, and I'll write, you know, potluck, you know, in May or whatever, potluck Italian theme or whatever. That way I know that I've done it before. Or you know, if someone says, "Hey, you remember that thing that you made, you know, when we had Italian potluck?" and then I can just go back and find it. So yeah, I do tend to take pretty OCD notes when it comes to cookbooks and cooking.
that's good. I know you even said you plan for the whole month for your meals, which I mean, I kind of just
I do.
defrost the meat. I make it for a few days, and I'd love to get better into meal planning like that. That's wonderful.
You know, meal planning, I'll show you. This is the one on top, so I'll just show you this one. Okay, here we go. So this is from January of 2017. I don't know if you can see that or not. There you go.
Wow.
And yeah, I do. I do this every month, and it helps with everything. I don't know. I'm a planner by nature, but when you're on one income, you know, and you're trying to make things work, and then you factor in, you know, especially now with Grayson, you know, pastoring this church, and we always have something going on. It is very easy to fall into the habit of let's eat out every other day. Let's eat out. We're on the go. We're on the go. And we're not big eat out people. So it helps me tremendously to have a plan, to know what we're going to make, to know, you know, what I have on hand and be able to work accordingly. Because you know how it is. If you don't have a plan, it's so very easy just to, you know, oh, we're just going to eat sandwiches, or, oh, we're just going to grab, you know, Cracker Barrel, whatever. And it's expensive to eat out. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I highly recommend a meal plan.
How
It's going to
do
save you
you
grace.
do you try to like base it on like, you know, I'm making beef for a few days? Like, is that kind of how you plan the meals, or do you just?
Well, you know, it just depends. Not necessarily. I mean, we've done, I don't know. It just depends on what's going on in our life and what, you know, what I've got on hand, what I've got in the freezer. You know, if I've, like, we bought a quarter cow, you know, and had tons and tons of beef for months. So those few months are going to be a lot of, you know, beef based meals. We did in March, I think it was, when Ollie, was having so many dietary problems. We did Whole Foods March, where we did only things, like I made everything. No processed food. We didn't eat out at all. We made everything at home. And so, that sort of structured that entire month's worth of meal planning. It really just depends on what's, going on. Or, if the kids are like, hey, can we have, homemade corn dogs next week? Or can we have, then, we'll do requests. But yep, I've got them all. I would show them to you if you were sitting here. I literally have all the way back to 2016 that I've kept, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
But
that's amazing though. Next time you come to Revival, just bring that.
I'll bring
Wear the same dress the whole time, and then just keep that for your suitcase.
Okay, I'll bring it. I promise you, I will. Yep.
That's amazing. Do you have any like freezer meal, crock pot, instant pot? Like,
Yes.
Do you have any things like that you keep on hand?
Yes. So, that's batch cooking. If you Google batch cooking or look at batch cooking on Pinterest, there's, especially when you get, into cooking for a bigger family, it's very handy to batch cook. Plus, like, before my papa passed away, the year prior, he had fallen a year, prior to when he passed away. And so he was in the hospital for several weeks. And then when he finally got back home, my mom and I would take turns, taking food to him, because he couldn't cook for himself. He was still able to live on his own and still able to pretty much take care of himself, but it was hard for him to make meals all the time. So often I would, whatever I was making, I would just double up, make two, or, make one and then a couple of individual servings for him to freeze. So, yes, I have countless recipes that, I keep in the freezer. If I make enchilada sauce, I'll make, or whatever, spaghetti sauce or whatever, then I'll make 2 or 3 and freeze several. If I cook ground beef, I always cook 5 pounds at a time, 4 or 5 pounds at a time, and then freeze it in bags. So you've already got cooked ground beef. If I make hamburger patties, I'll pat out, more than you need and freeze the rest. So yeah, it's just staying ahead of the game, and it's live and learn. You learn that the better prepared you are, the more likely you are to actually prepare a meal rather than, let's go out to dinner. So
I notice I'm more efficient too. Like, even if I have, like something cooked, some biscuits, whatever it is in the freezer, and then, you can just, okay, I toasted that, I added this to it. You have something, like you said, you become more efficient. And it's better. Like you said, you save money, everything's like wholesome. So that's really nice. I even, I know Carol had mentioned a canning book recently, and that's something that as our garden grows, I want to get into, but also you can kind of like meal prep, kind of like you make your own canned soup kind of concept.
Definitely. I'm ashamed to say that I don't can regularly. I have canned. I've only done water bath canning, but we've got a lady at our church who is just, she has some mad skills when it comes to canning. She cans everything. And she is doing a class for some of the ladies at our church in the early fall. Well, I guess late summer. It would be more like late summer when everybody's garden is pretty much finishing up, and, the produce stands are starting to get rid of their overstock and stuff like that. And we're going to do an actual canning class. I bought a pressure canner last year. It's still in the box downstairs in my basement. It's been sitting down there for a year, but I'm going to crack it open very soon. So yeah, but you all with your garden, Luis, it looks like he can grow like anything. He amazes me with his gardening skills. So canning will definitely be a good thing for you.
Yeah. I know right now I just have my regular stock pot. So I'm going to start with water bath canning.
Yeah.
But then like Black Friday comes around, we're going to do like we're going to get a pressure canner. And, like you said, just as everything grows, and I don't know, just being like self-sustainable. And let's see. Yeah. Rachel says, I recently did some batch cooking for freezer meals with friends who were prepping after their baby. That was a great experience. Oh, that's so nice. Yeah. After like having your baby, not having to worry about meals. And
definitely.
That's really nice.
Yes. That's a huge blessing. Yes.
That's really nice. And I want to kind of do that too. Like, even instead of having frozen lasagna from the store, just have it, yourself, and you just, same concept, but you can make it. So
yeah, absolutely. We did a freezer meal thing at our church back in March or April. I can't remember. But we came together, all the ladies in the church or anybody who signed up to come. And we did, I can't remember how many meals. Thinking it was like 5 meals that we prepared for freezer, and then a batch of pancakes and a batch of waffles and 2 coffee cakes. And we spent the whole day over there and, put all of it together. It was a ton of prep work. And I learned how to and how not to do a freezer meal day. I learned a lot that day, but it was very nice to be able to put all of that in the freezer at one time. 5 meals and all these pancakes and waffles and 2 little cakes. And I mean, it's definitely worth the effort. So it was a really fun day. We had a great time doing it. It was a lot of work, but it was a really fun day.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know, like, recently I had made bread, and Luis and Ezra had really enjoyed the French toast. So I was thinking I might just double batch my bread I'm making tomorrow, and then, just maybe freeze like a whole bunch, like prep the French toast and then just freeze, kind of like what they do at the store, but you're just from scratch kind of making it. And it is really convenient, but it does take time. That's why today I hadn't done it. I was like, oh, it's just, I got to have my, I was cleaning the kitchen more. So that way tomorrow, if it gets wild, it's like everything's really clean.
Exactly. It is hard to find the time to do everything. It's so very hard to, prioritize, and it's a challenge. Time management is probably my biggest challenge, because, you just get so distracted. You get so many irons in the fire. I tell Grayson all the time that I feel like I'm doing everything at like 50% instead of 100%, because you're trying to do so many things at once. But, it's nice to be home and to be able to do those things. And honestly, you just have to pick a day. The best thing for me usually is when I just say, okay, on, Tuesday, not Monday, because Monday's like my recovery day from the weekend, where we do laundry and just sort of get everything picked up. But Tuesday, all day Tuesday, I'm only going to focus on food prep all day long. It's going to be in the kitchen, spend the whole day in there and get things ready for the next week. But it's challenging. It's very challenging.
Yeah, I know I saw a post one time too where it was saying, like, this is what my grandma used to call Snapchat. I was never into Snapchat, but it was a lady and she was snapping the peas. And, I think, like, it's true. Like, we're just so used to kind of like, oh, I'm just sitting there and, I'm scrolling, or I'm just, kind of hanging out or whatever, instead of like, just staying busy, get more into bread making, or, I feel like cooking can also connect you. Like, some of my family that they aren't homemaker minded, either they're not homemakers or they're just, they have different mentalities. When I'm like cooking with my cast iron, or I'm doing like old time things like that, like taking out the pigeon peas, I called a few of my aunts because they used to do that with my grandma. And so I just FaceTimed them. I took turns, and me and Ezra were just doing the pigeon peas, and it took us a while, but it's a way to connect through food and, to stay busy as well. So I think it's really wonderful. Oh, Day made it. Hi. Do you have any international books? Any like really different? I know you said Pastor Fritz likes more like American style. Or do you like to experiment for you?
Let me look. Hold on. I've got. Yes, he's so picky. Okay, so I've got this one. This is great for homeschool. Can you see it? It says Passport on a Plate. Oh. It's not necessarily an international book, but this is another one of those sort of like the grandmother book that goes through all different countries, gives you a recipe from each country. I did a unit study with the kids years ago called Galloping the Globe. It's an older homeschool book, but it's like a unit study, like a world geography unit study for kids. And it's a fabulous book. There's Galloping the Globe and there's Cantering the Country. I can't remember the name of the author. They're old school homeschool books, but you can do this geography study where, you're studying a certain country, and then you have this little cookbook and you can make something from, wherever that country is. So I don't have any cookbooks, I guess, that are specific to a country. Well, I have a Mediterranean. I don't know if you can see that in the book. I have a Mediterranean cookbook just because I love Greek food. So that's more of just an obsession. But I think that's it. Oh, I have this, El Norte. This is a good one. You would like this one. Yep. I've only made like 2 things out of it, a couple of different salsas. But like I said, Grayson is not big on Mexican food. So this is one of those that if I use it, I'm making it only for me or me and the kids. But yeah. But I like any kind of book.
Day asked Passport for what is it called?
Oh, it's called Passport on a Plate.
On a Plate.
Passport on a Plate. Sorry. Yes.
That is so nice.
Really good. And then I think I have, yes. There's also this one for homeschool. Eat Your Way Around the World. That's a good one too. Or there's Eat Your Way Through the USA. That's great for United States geography for kids. So if you've got any homeschoolers out there that are interested in those books.
That's so nice. There's a lady in my homemaking group on Facebook, and she does like different meal challenges for her family. I think it's every week or every 2 weeks, and it's like, this is green beans, and they're doing green beans with everything, or apples, and I think that's like fun too, because then the kids can be involved. Like, what can we make with apples? I don't know.
That's a great idea. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's fabulous. That's fabulous.
That's
when we
really
did our
neat.
Whole Foods challenge in March, the kids got into it. So it was, I mean, they were probably more strict than I was, about, we can't do that. We can't have that. That's processed. Yeah. So they'll hold you to.
Oh, I think you froze.
There you are.
Almost. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's neat. Is that kind of like a Whole30 thing? I've heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was just like, I don't know. Have you heard of 100 Days of Real Food? She's been around for a long time. It's a blogger, and she was like one of the first that I remember talking about, not eating processed foods. She was one of the first that I came across a long time ago, whenever blogs first started. So I kind of got it off her website, and it's just trying to avoid processed food and eat wholesome ingredients and things like that. It was really just a challenge. I was actually doing a diet at the same time, and I was looking at taking Ollie off of some different foods, and so it was sort of a fun way, to a challenging way to implement a new way of eating, just so it wasn't like, oh, I'm sorry, we can't eat this, or you can't have that, but everybody else can. Sort of just involved the whole family. But yes, and I have done Whole30. I have you can't see them, they're above my head. I have like a whole section of books that are just like diets, like I've got Whole30, and I've got Trim Healthy Mama. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's a great low carb kind of diet. I have
heard of it.
Okay, it's a good one. And then I've got, the paleo and some of the different, low carb, and I've done all those things at some time or another in my life. So I have a pretty good assortment of those kind of cookbooks too. But
yeah, I have some like that where they're like keto, or they're like specific ones. But I mean, even if you're not doing it, there's still great recipes in there.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
So
well, and a lot of those, recipes revolve around very simple ingredients. It's not a lot of processed stuff. You've got meat, vegetable, fruit, grain, things like that. So yeah, there are some great recipes, and so you can feel good about what you're, making. It's a healthy recipe. But
that's nice. I was recently hearing about the GAPS diet and like the Weston A. Price Foundation and things like that. And so that's been really inspiring me to, I don't know if you consume organ meats, but I've been trying to give that a go, and it's new to me, but it's a solo game right now.
Yeah. It's a little weird at first, but yes. Of course, I live in the South, so chicken livers around here, that's like it's on, every diner restaurant menu around here.
Really?
Yes.
I made pate the other day.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, but it's just that strong flavor. It's just new to me.
It is very strong. Yeah.
So Ezra wasn't really feeling it.
Was he not?
No, because I kind of mixed a little bit with his eggs. Before I made the pate, I had just like sauteed them with onions.
Yeah.
But he kind of noticed like, no, he just ate the eggs. And so I was like, I'm going to try some different things, maybe freeze some and add it in somehow. But
that's funny.
I don't know, any tips, if you want to send me any tips you have for like any organ meats or anything like that. Cause it's also like if I didn't have chicken bones in the freezer already for my, from my food, I would get chicken feet at the store. And so it's like foreign to people, like, ooh, chicken feet, but really like bone broth is so nutritious for you. So, I mean,
that's exactly right.
And if you were processing your own chickens, they have feet. I don't,
That's
but
exactly right. That's completely okay. Yeah, I totally get it. No, we don't do organ meat. We don't do, I don't eat a lot of meat myself, but no, Grayson would never touch anything. You would have to like disguise it and not tell him what it was before he would eat something like that. Now my older boys love chicken livers, and anytime we go out, they always get liver. Always, almost always.
Wow.
Yeah, like in a diner style, a little country style. But no, I don't have any any advice on preparing that. It's not my
Oh.
specialty.
Yeah, I know Luis one time I had made him black bean brownies.
Oh yeah.
And
What did he
yeah,
think?
I thought they were great, but he doesn't like beans at
Oh,
all. And
yeah.
so initially he had like he tried it and he seemed fine. And then
Then you
I go,
told him.
oh yeah, oh there were black beans in there. I knew something was off. I'm like, what? No, you didn't. And
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's a conspiracy because he said he's like, I knew it, and I'm like, yeah, but at first you didn't look like you were reacting, but you know,
That's
so I was like,
hilarious.
I had to not tell him at all, but I was
Yeah.
like, I did it. And, you know, and then now
So
he's like,
funny.
make sure you don't do that. Like, just make regular brownies. So,
That's hilarious. You need to try the avocado brownies. There's some that you make with avocado that are really good.
ooh.
Yeah, so avocado is so versatile. I feel like I've was cheated half my life not getting avocado because I never had that growing up ever. Like I didn't even know what an avocado was when I was growing up. And then you get married and I tried guacamole for the first time and was like, oh, wow, how have I missed this my whole life? But lots you can do with the avocado.
Oh, I'm going to just plug in the laptop real quick. Chicken chewies is what Rachel calls them. That's really awesome. Day said, what is your favorite food? And I'm just going to plug in the laptop while you say that.
Oh, that's fine. My favorite food. Oh, how can you choose one food? I have no idea. What's my favorite food? My favorite fruit is mango. My favorite, or avocado. Is that a fruit? I think my favorite meal, like if I like my comfort food, I love a piece of homemade bread with some sliced avocado and a fried egg on top. That's probably my comfort food. That's one of my favorite things.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, it is really good. I don't know. It's hard to decide a favorite food. I love lots of food, I just love food. I don't know. I can't even decide. It's too hard to decide. I love ice cream. Like if I'm just going to go all out, and just splurge and have the most horrible thing for me, then I want a giant bowl of chocolate ice cream. So that's, if I could just eat unlimited ice cream without any repercussions, without any weight gain, without any skin issues, without my stomach hurting, then I would eat a big bowl of chocolate ice cream. So
have you made your own or you always just
yeah, I've made my own.
not the same?
We've got ice cream maker. I've got two ice cream makers actually. I've got the big, old fashioned, that spins that you put the rock salt in, and then I've got one of the little countertop models, that it does all the work for you. But yeah, we've made ice creams, and I don't know. I just have a huge issue with dairy. I don't do dairy a whole lot for me personally. So I don't eat a lot of ice cream. Now, there are some great dairy-free options out there now. I will say that, even Ben and Jerry's, the, bougie fancy ice cream, they have a dairy-free option now. But I don't do a lot of dairy typically, unfortunately. Okay. Yep.
Have you tried raw milk? I know some people have different experience when it comes to raw.
We bought raw milk. Sorry, my mom was texting me. We bought raw milk for about a year. And then up until just recently, I stopped in May because I took Ollie off of dairy. Tristan was leaving, going to the military. And Grayson won't drink it because he thinks it's just disgusting. And so that just left Sam and Levi because I don't drink the raw milk. So I stopped buying it just because I was driving an hour to get it to meet the lady, and it's expensive and it just wasn't worth it anymore. But yeah, we've bought raw milk. It's wonderful. I mean, it's a fabulous, if you got access to it, I highly recommend it. It's so much better for you than the grocery store stuff. But no, I have a lot of trouble with dairy, so I try to stay away from it, even the raw milk. So.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, there's so many other milks now. Like you said, there's all these alternatives that it's
Exactly. Exactly. Yep.
Let's see. There's a question. Have you ever cooked with plantains or yuca?
Yes, I've cooked with plantains. I love plantains. I did not know what tostones were actually until your husband said something about it on Facebook last year. But I love, okay, so what got me on the plantain thing was plantain chips. I did a diet years ago and was not doing any corn, and somebody was like, oh, you need to try plantain chips. And Trader Joe's has a fantastic little plantain chip and salsa. And so that kind of got me into the plantains. I tried making my own, not realizing that what I was probably making was tostones. And I remember seeing your husband post something about that. And I was like, hey, I didn't realize that's what that was called. But I've never cooked with, what was the other, yuca?
Yuca. Mm-hmm.
No, what is that? I don't know what that is.
It's I think it's also called cassava. So it's a root vegetable.
Flour, like a fine meal flour. I've used that before.
So I've never used the flour, but typically like we're growing it right now in the yard, but you can buy it a lot in like Spanish stores. And then it's similar. It's a root vegetable, so it's different than potato, but it's similar to that concept where you would boil it, and a lot of times you can fry it, or you can even make like a yuca mash or anything like that.
I've never tried it.
It's really tasty. Yeah.
I bet. That's pretty awesome. And y'all are growing it. That's really cool. That's really
So next time you come down, we'll make you some yuca. You bring your book.
Sounds good to me. I need to come for a visit.
Yeah, you'll see our garden.
I would love to see your garden. I'm sure it's awesome. Yours and Laurie's. Laurie looks like she has an awesome garden too. I'm always like envious of y'all's gardens and beautiful things that you grow. So it's that Florida soil and Florida growing season. That's just so wonderful.
Have you started any sort of garden or?
No, I'm ashamed to say that we did not even do a garden this year. It was one of those things that, my granddad was really sick in April and everything was crazy. And, we're usually starting in, late March, early April. We had 2 trips. And then, my granddad was sick and we were there all the time and there was just no time. And by the time, it got to be end of May, and I still hadn't started it, then I was just like, I just can't, I don't want to get started. So no, I'm ashamed to say that I did nothing. My poor garden is sitting out there overgrown. I'm telling myself that I'm just letting my soil rest this year. And next year I will dive in and do it again. But yeah, I dropped the ball big time this year.
Oh, but I love that you were spending time with family. I mean, I think that's the great thing too. Like that recipe binder you have, you can pass it down to your kids, and then it's something special. Like I would like another reason with the cookbooks, I'd like to get organized with a binder, and then I don't know, there's just something special about. Sure, I could be like, hey, here's my Pinterest board, but it's not quite the same as like, here's this book, and there might be some coffee stains. I don't know. It's just
look at special. This is my papa's. When he passed away, my mom gave it to me. It says Joe's Cookbook, tried and tested, mighty fine eating. So this is all his little recipes that he used. And so you're right. It's very special to have this because it's got little handwritten notes in it, and things that he made and things that he tried. It's got recipes in it that I wrote out for him when I would take food over there, and he would be like, oh, I want that recipe. And so he's tucked them away in that book. Yeah, I think it's definitely a keepsake for sure.
Oh, yeah. Or even like the one you said, the recipes like from the ladies at church, then it's like, oh, as time goes on, you're like, oh, I remember, Maria used to make this, or, with our lunch theme, sometimes it's like, oh, that was really good. Like, I want to make those muffins for Luis, so I think that's really wonderful.
How do y'all do your potluck at church? Like, do you decide a theme, or is that what you do you do a potluck every Sunday, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So typically on Monday, I'll send out, we have like a ladies chat on WhatsApp, and then I'll send out like a few options, maybe some things we haven't done recent or something maybe some themes I look up. And then, the ladies will vote on whatever theme they want. And there's also an option if they think of something else, it's just kind of whatever I think of, but and then, so like this week it's brunch. So everybody voted for that. And then by Tuesday or Monday night, whenever I put it by Monday at 8, but then, if not by Tuesday morning, everybody knows that whole week what we're making. Right. And so then Sunday, everybody brings dishes, and then that's it. So it's really nice because we all get to share. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well,
so I know it was actually Lori's idea when we first started the church. And so I think it's a great thing because, like, again, it's not only saving because we're not all going out to eat or anything, but I feel like it's like so connective because, like, I've connected with other ladies like, oh, you made this. Wow, that's really great. How do you make this? Or, I think it's really sweet. So
Oh yeah, definitely. Church potlucks are wonderful. We do it once a month, and we do usually choose a theme, and we have a whiteboard in the back, and we just have people sign up. But I don't know. I guess I'm not up for the challenge of every single Sunday yet.
yeah.
Maybe someday I'll get there. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that's y'all have a really nice kitchen. So that I haven't even seen if y'all have like because I know y'all have like
Yes,
new
you've
stuff.
not
So
been
yeah, I
to our
only saw
new
the
place. That's right.
yeah.
You guys need to come up for a visit. It's
Yeah.
time for a Gatlinburg trip. Ezra needs to see Cade's Cove.
I
So.
know. That'd be we can sing there together. We'll sing.
Oh, I would love to do that. That would be wonderful. I actually played your video for my mom not too long ago, which we were talking about, because she went up there and they have. Do you remember like on the I don't know which building that you were in when you sang, but there's one building that has like the podium up front, and you can write a prayer and like leave your prayer on the podium, and people, that come in, they might see your prayer request and they'll pray for you. And she had written a prayer, and I told her about your song. I'm like, you've got to hear this.
Aww.
So you're famous. Yep, totally famous. I love that recording.
That's awesome. So I don't know where this recording would be, but there was a lady in one of the, the church buildings where she just, I don't know even what hymn I was singing. I think it was Amazing Grace. And she just came up and was playing the piano. And I mean, it was great. And so people are coming in and we're just like singing Amazing Grace and playing the piano. It was great. And I think her son had recorded it, but they were supposed to send it to me. And I don't know, that's out there somewhere. I've looked, but
that's so fun.
It's like so cool. Yeah. So I'd love to do it again. And especially now, I was telling Dana earlier that like Ezra now he's singing Revive Us Again, but he just goes hallelujah, 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 amen. Like, amen. So by the time we get there, I feel like, even if we just sing that, it would be so sweet. Like children's voices. I just love it. Like when when we're at church and you just hear the kids are singing with their whole hearts, I'm like, not that you're not, but it's like that child voice. Like I don't know. It's just so sweet.
I loved when we were down there and you sang, and you had him like, just like you do now, and you just singing. And I told Grayson, I was like, I bet she just walks around and sings all day long with him. And he's so accustomed to that. It's very natural for him to just be right there on your back.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we love to sing together. So definitely now that he's starting to sing back to me instead of like looking at me, I'm like, oh, this is so nice. And someday we'll do a special together.
That's wonderful.
So thank you so much for what do you say? Visit. Oh yeah, come up to visit. Maybe we could sing up there together. I think you froze again. Are you there?
Hold on, there it goes.
Okay.
I don't know. It's like I see your face. It's frozen.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Okay, there you are.
Oh, awesome.
Yep, I can hear you now.
So I was going to say, are there any other books that you want to share? Like any other cookbooks that stand out to you that you're like, these would be like cool recommendations?
I'm looking.
So many.
I don't know if you're familiar with, I know I have so many. If you're familiar with Pioneer Woman, her cookbooks are fabulous. There are no fail recipes. I can grab one. This is one of her older ones. She's wonderful. Fantastic recipes. She has a blog. I think she's on the Food Network. She's really good. Love that one. Let's see.
I've seen all her cooking items at Walmart are really cute.
Oh, yes. Her Walmart stuff is really cute. Well, her recipes are really good. They are. This is a great cookbook. It's called $5 Dinner Mom. It's very basic, very simple recipes. This cookbook actually has my the pizza crust recipe and the pizza sauce recipe that I make all the time. And here, like deep dish pizza pot pie. Just very simple recipes. It's usually cheap. You can find it, on Thrift Books or on eBay or something. It's a fabulous one to have. And she claims, that every recipe in there can be made for under $5. Now, it's an older book, and with inflation, I don't know if that would be true now. But still, it's relatively cheap, recipes to make. So that's another one of my favorites. But that's probably, I can say something wonderful about all of them. But, I would highly recommend, where is it at? If you want just a good, solid, It has everything in it that you need, you know, a good sampling of pretty much any type of food that you could possibly want to make, meals, appetizers, desserts, beverages, whatever. Then I would definitely go for this one, the Better Homes and Garden. And really, any of the Better Homes and Gardens are very good cookbooks. A lot of the older ones are in the 3-ring binder style, and so they stay open really easily. But, you know, this one if you put it on a stand, it's perfectly fine. But these are fabulous. That's probably my favorite cookbooks.
That's awesome. I know I was talking to the Hausers recently about pizza crust. So that'll be cool if you could send that to me. I know they were asking me, and I'm like, I don't have like a set pizza crust recipe yet, but I'd love to get one going.
I will send it to you. I'll copy it and send it to you for sure. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and it's nice when you have those recipes, you know, like I have a chocolate chip cookie. I use the Magnolia one now, and it's tried and true.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. There's one more I'll show you, and then we'll go. This right here. You talk about an age-old, never fail. This is a magazine. It's not even a cookbook. I guess it's a cookbook magazine. It's from 2009, and it is also Better Homes and Gardens. Go figure. And this is the recipe that I make from it. It's the cutout sugar cookies with the powdered sugar frosting, and we make them for everything. I have 8 zillion cookie cutters that, you know, every season, every holiday, everything, we have a cookie cutter for it. It's a fabulous recipe. So I don't know if you could even get your hands on this, maybe on eBay or something, or just look up the Better Homes and Gardens sugar cookie recipe. That's probably one of the best recipes that I have. It's probably one that I've made more than any other recipe in any cookbook I have. I don't know how I forgot about it.
Wow, that's awesome. I know. I don't know if you're familiar with Hoopla as well. It's an app connected with your library card. I'm not sure.
No.
Yeah, so basically it's a free app connected with your library card, and you can basically check out books on there, but it's separate from you checking out books at the library. And I know they have some cookbooks on there as well, like the Magnolia and a few others. And so maybe I'm wondering if those would be maybe just in there because they're ebooks, so maybe it'd be available if you can't find them.
Possibly. That's interesting. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So, that's really awesome though. So, well, thank you so much. It was really awesome talking to you.
It's always awesome talking to you, Raquel.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling really inspired. Good. And people, I know you had said people can find you on Facebook and Instagram as Dee Fritts.
That's correct. That's I'm Aunt Dee to my nephews. So that's where that came from. But yes, I am on Instagram. I am on Facebook, and I have an email address. If you'll reach me on either one of those, I'll be glad to share it with you.
Oh, yeah. And your email is Try Sam?
Yes, it's TRYSAM36@gmail. TrySam36@gmail.com.
Okay, well, that's awesome. Well, thanks so much for tuning in, y'all. Leave a comment down below off of, you know, any cookbooks that you enjoy, any that you would like to try, or anything else you want to note. And any videos, you know, any topics you would like me to cover in the future on homemaking and motherhood. And I love these sort of chats because I get to talk to other ladies and really, you know, learn from their wisdom and and be inspired myself as well, and share that with you. So thank you so much, and
you're welcome.
See you in the next one.
Sounds good. Bye-bye.
Bye.